and then my open. All right, over to Yoko.
Hi, welcome back. Today is October 27th, 2022, and this is our ninth session of the Enochian book club. And we had like 1 week in between where we took off. We didn't have that, and right now we're back. Today's we're gonna the area that we're gonna cover is very interesting and very exciting. And then I think 2 weeks ago we left it off at the hot springs, the water, and all that, where the angels are underneath, that they were condemned to underneath in the pit, and then the water itself turns into hot spring with the sulfur and all that. But anyway, and there was a lot of other things. So I'm going to turn it over to you, LG, and yeah, my name is Yoko, and welcome to join in our book club. Okay, LG.
Thanks, Yoko. Yeah, I missed the book club last week. I'm glad to be back. I think we'll start with the Lord's Prayer, and then, well, before I do that, let me just start with picking up what you were saying, because I did have to go back and figure out exactly where we had left off, and you're right. And the reason I want to mention it is because when we're picking back up tonight at 68.1, we're still kind of going to be in that the punishment, dealing with the punishment and the judgment that's going to come down on the angels, which is exactly where we ended last week. So it's a continuity. And it's going to start out with Archangel Michael, um, just confirming the just how disturbing that judgment is. So this is more than a break from where we started. It's more, or stopped rather. It's more of a continuation. So, all right, with that, well, Yoko, did you want me to start out with the Lord's Prayer?
Yes, please.
Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
And after this, my great-grandfather Enoch gave me the explanation of all the secrets in a book, and the parables that had been given to him, and he put them together for me in the words of the book of parables. And on that day the holy Michael answered Raphael, saying, The power of the Spirit seizes me and makes me tremble because of the harshness of the judgment of the angels. Who can endure the harshness of the judgment which has been executed, and before which they melt with fear? And the holy Michael answered Raphael again and said to him, Who would not soften his heart over it, and whose mind would not be disturbed by this word? Judgment has gone out against them upon those whom they have led out like this. But it came to pass, when he stood before the Lord of spirits, that the holy Michael spoke as follows to Raphael, I will not take the part under the eye of the Lord, for the Lord of spirits is angry with them, because they act as if they were the Lord. Because of this, the hidden judgment will come upon them forever and ever, for neither any other angel nor any man will receive their lot, but they alone have received their judgment forever and ever. And after this judgment I will terrify them and make them tremble, for they have shown this to those who dwell upon the dry ground. And behold, the names of those angels. The first of them is Simyaza, and the second Artakepha, and the third Armin, and the fourth Kokabiel, and the fifth Turiel, and the sixth Ramiel, and the 7th Daniel, and the 8th Nuquel, and the 9th Baraquel, and the 10th Azazel, and the 11th Armoros, the 12th Batriel, the 13th Bazazel, the 14th Ananel, the 15th Turiel, the 16th Samsiel, the 17th Yedarel, the 18th Tumiel, the 19th Turiel, the 20th Rumiel, and the 21st Azazel. And these are the chiefs of their angels, and the names of the leaders of hundreds, and their leaders of 50s, and their leaders of 10s. The name of the first is Yakun. This is the one who led astray all the children of the holy angels, and he brought them down unto the ground, and led them astray through the daughters of men. And the name of the second is Asbiel. This one suggested an evil plan to the children of the holy angels, and led them astray, so that they corrupted their bodies with the daughters of men. And the name of the third is Gadriel. This is the one that showed all the deadly blows to the sons of men, and he led astray Eve. He showed the weapons of death to the children of men, the shield and the breastplate, and the sword for slaughter, and all the weapons of death to the sons of men. And from his hand they have gone out against those who dwell the dry ground from that time and forever and ever. And the name of the fourth is Penimu. This one showed the sons of men the bitter and the sweet, and showed them all the secrets of their wisdom. He taught men the art of writing with ink and paper, and through this many have gone astray, from eternity to eternity and to this day. For men were not created for this, that they should confirm the faith like this, with pen and ink. For men were created no differently from the angels, so that they might remain righteous and pure, and death, which destroys everything, would not have touched them. But through this knowledge of theirs they are being destroyed, and through this power death consumes them. And the name of the fifth is Casdea. This one showed the sons of men all the evil blows of the spirits and of the demons, and the blows that attack the embryo in the womb so that it miscarries, and the blows that attack the soul, the bite of the serpent, and the blows that occur at midday, and the son of the serpent, who is strong. And this is the task of Kesbil, the chief of the oath, who showed the oath to the holy ones when he dwelt on the high in glory, and his name is Becca. And this one told the holy Michael that he should show him the secret name, so that they might mention it in the oath, so that those who showed the sons of men everything that is secret trembled before that name and oath. And this is the power of this oath, for it is powerful and strong, and he placed this oath, in the charge of the holy Michael. And these are the secrets of this oath, and they are strong through this oath. And heaven was suspended before the world was created, and forever. And through it the earth was founded upon the water. And from the hidden recesses of the mountains come beautiful waters, from the creation of the world, and forever. And through that oath the sea was created, and as its foundation, for the time of anger, he placed for it the sand, and it does not go beyond it, from the creation of the world, and forever. And through that oath the deeps were made firm, and they stand and do not move from their place, from the creation of the world, and forever. And through that oath the sun and the moon complete their course, and do not transgress their command, from the creation of the world, and forever. And through that oath the stars complete their course, and he calls their names, and they answer him, from the creation of the world, and forever. And likewise the spirits of the water, of the winds, and of all the breezes, and their paths, according to all the groups of the spirits. And there are kept the storehouses of the sound of thunder, and of the light of the lightning. And there are kept the storehouses of the hail, and the hoarfrost, and the storehouses of the mist, and the storehouses of the rain and dew. And all these make their confession, and give thanks in front of the Lord of spirits, and sing praises with all their power. And their food consists of all their thanksgiving, and they give thanks, praise, and exalt in the name of the Lord of spirits, forever and ever. And this oath is strong over them, and through it they are kept safe, and their courses are not disturbed. And they had great joy, and they blessed, praised, and exalted, because the name of that Son of Man had been revealed to them. And he sat on the throne of his glory, and the whole judgment was given to the Son of Man, and he will cause the sinners to pass away and be destroyed from the face of the earth. And those who led astray the world will be bound in chains, and will be shut up in the assembly place of their destruction, and all their works will pass away from the face of the earth. And from then on there will be nothing corruptible. For that Son of Man has appeared, and has sat on the throne of his glory, and everything will pass away and go from in front of him. And the word of that Son of Man will be strong in front of the Lord of spirits. This is the third parable of Enoch.
Thank you, Yoko.
Thank you.
Hi, Hope. Hi, Aria.
Hi, LG. Hi, Aria and Yoko. Great to hear your voices tonight.
Hi.
Well, this may be the most challenging chapters I've had to unpack. This is one of those things that you could either like just glaze right over, or you could unpack it for hours. The first few times that I heard this up until recently, it seemed to be a repetition of what had already been told to us. We had already been given the names of the 20 angels. So I think that I always glazed over, because it wasn't until recently that I started seeing the other parts to this, or hearing the other parts to this, because I knew about the 20 chiefs of the 200, but I never honed in on the fact that they also said there were 5 leaders of 50, and there's 1 leader of 10. So that means that there's actually a total of 27 involved, besides, I mean, of like leadership status, not including the 200, the 50, and the 10. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then the anyway, I'll kind of stop there, but he did introduce 5 names that are not introduced earlier on when the 20 names are given. And I'm trying to deal with the hierarchy of that, because now I feel like these 5 leaders are actually of a higher standing than the 20 leaders. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
It did seem like he was giving them a higher rank.
Yeah, and so he set, there was, and he included Azazel, whichever potato. And we've had the conversation that Azazel is synonymous with Satan, Lucifer. So I'm thinking he named him as the 21st in this particular reading. So from a hierarchy standpoint, I'm thinking that it's something like this, perhaps. You have Azazel, which is Satan, at the top. Because he was the leader of the rebellion. So he was the general. So you have him at the top, even though he's listed as the 21st. And then you have the one leader, Kesbil, who was the chief of the oaths. And I want to talk about the oaths in a few minutes. But I think in hierarchical order, it was Satan and then Caspiel. And then it was the 5 leaders of the 50. And then it was the 20 leaders of the 200. And those 5 leaders of the 50, which have a higher standing than the 20 leaders of the 200, when he named them, he said what they did. And the first one he named, I don't know how he pronounced it, Yaquan, Yequn, said that he's the one that brought them down. So Satan went to these 5 to then make a plan to bring in the other 20. So, open to the floor. What did y'all think?
And then, yeah, I think correct. Gadriel, the one who introduced the weapons, and it was very short. It said also compromised Eve or led astray Eve. Wasn't that interesting? Gadreal, Gadriel, or Rel, Gadriel.
Yeah, what about that? So, we thought it was Azazel, Satan, that led Eve astray. And now, all of a sudden, as we're becoming more and more familiar with Enoch, now we find out about Godriel. And they just added it in there about leading Eve astray like it was an afterthought. But I'm going, whoa. So Cain, was it Satan or was it this Godriel? I'm confused. And I remain confused. What about you all? Hey, Lynn.
Hi everyone. I don't know. Are you saying Saint Gabriel or are you saying Gabriel?
It's one of the fallen angels. It's one of the leaders. And Yoko and I decided to play straight through because we thought that we may want to do a second run through after we had talked about it because it's rather complicated. But the spelling of the word that we're saying is Godreel. Godreel.
Gotcha.
And what we were just saying, or I was saying, is that every time I've listened to Enoch, these 5 leaders in this hierarchy that just came barreling out have evaded me. I've not ever honed in on this before because it seemed to be redundant with the names of the 20 leaders. So we've caught you up, Lynn.
Thank you.
And also, we're not supposed to have language, written language. And this Pen, what's his name? Pen, P-N-E. Anyway, this angel, he's the one introduced bitter and sweet taught us about bitter and sweet. And then the writing, put it in pen and ink. The consequences of that, according to Enoch, or according to what's written, is horrible. It's just absolutely turned because we have death. For that reason, we have death. And before that, we were just like angels. We're intended to be like angels. We don't meet death. But with things that are this part, if LG, can you say why that we write it down? We have language, then there's death. Do you understand that part?
Well, that part to me, and so yeah, that was the fourth of the five leaders of 50. And the spelling of that name was Penemue, Penumu. And he did say bitter and sweet, which when you first hear that, I started thinking of, more of like an alchemy, a chemistry with fruits, berries, sweet, sour. But I think, or the sweet and bitter is good and evil. And then he says that he created, putting ink to paper. And then he said that we were not created for this, and that we were not created to have our faith confirmed by pen and ink. So it made me think, obviously, of the Bible. And I don't know. That's what I mean. This is one of those sections that you could just keep rolling through without giving it deep thought, or you could unpack for hours. Some parts of it are very thought provoking, and they are kind of opposite of what my natural inclination would be. Agreed?
Agreed. And, if you think about it, a lot of our world today, if in fact the fallen angels taught us how to wear makeup, taught us how to make swords, taught us how to have roots and alchemy and all these read the stars. So a lot of the world that we live in today is from the fallen angels. So maybe that's why we struggle so much, because we weren't supposed to do any of it. But it was introduced by them, and then humanity went with what they showed everybody. And maybe this is why we struggle.
It also
If I,
makes me think. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Yoko.
sorry, so just, I didn't want to lose the thought. It's 69.10. Um, so here, that's pretty important. 69.10, that was the bitter and sweet. Okay. For men were not created for this, meaning for, the ink and paper to record, that they should conform their faith like this, faith, with pen and ink. So we were not supposed to confirm our faith on pen, that things that are printed or written down. So therefore, we do not have, we can't be like the angels. We have to die. That's pretty amazing.
I think about the few clues that we have. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
I think about the few clues that we have in Genesis about what life was like before Adam and Eve sinned. And it talks about Adam and Eve, or at least we know Adam, walked in the coolness of the morning, and God, they talked with God. They communicated with God. And my understanding that it was mental, like a telecommunication. It's like they they knew each other's thoughts. Um, like I've heard that when people have a near death experience and they go to heaven, they talk about how they didn't have words, but they knew what the person was thinking, and they had a total communication, um, mind to mind, without words. And so I think that was the original intent, was that we would know each other, and we would know each other's hearts, our thoughts, without the encumbrance and searching like I'm doing right now for language, for the words to describe something. It would be easy to flow through. So I think that was the original before the fall. before sin entered the world. And maybe that was part of the sin. But that makes me think of a life before the fall was perfect communication with God and mankind without words and without writing. And I think that's what we're going to, what we're heading toward in the new earth is there won't have to be words. We'll know the thoughts and intentions of man. Like it's pretty deep to think about that, but you're right. We could unpack that for a long time.
Let me do a mic check. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I had to switch headphones. But no, you're exactly right, Hope. I was going to move on to the oath, but I think there was a couple of things yet that I was going to say, but y'all go ahead if you to stay on this part of the subject.
Yeah, I was going to also bring up, okay, there are a few, the things that are the weapons, okay, that is the, introduced by Gadriel, Gadriel. And then the other one is the Bittersweet by Pen and Ink. That's him. And then there was the curses, right? The cursing the embryo and all that. That was introduced by somebody else too. So there were four. Was it 4 or 5? So these are the things that we have right now. We've been born. We never had a choice. This is our culture. That's been our lives. Our civilization happened what they gave us. So so they changed. They directed the humanity. That's pretty much a capture operation from the very beginning. But anyway, so it's good to know that what was intended for us. Still a little bit unclear though.
Well, maybe we weren't able to understand or why God didn't want us to have these things, these certain things. That's the life we were supposed to have. And by introducing all these other things, the makeup for the ego, the sword for war, the alchemy to look for here instead of God's way. So I think our world was supposed to be different, and we're not in our natural humanity because we're living in a world that we weren't made for. We're doing okay. Well, not that we're doing okay, but we learned how to survive, but it's not what we were originally set up for. That's what I think.
Yeah, they ruined the whole world before we ever got past the very first generation. Just ruined it.
They screwed it all up for us.
Yeah, well, and a couple of the other points before we start kind of talking about the oaths is, we still don't know what this judgment is. And in this particular verse, the judgment for the watchers, for the fallen angels, it's called a hidden judgment. But there seems to be one part there where, well, there's no scenes to it. Holy Michael is disturbed and, by what he knows this judgment is going to be. And it seems like there's a small space of time that may have occurred. And then Michael stood before Jesus, the Lord of Spirits, and, did and said what he needed to say. But whatever that judgment was enough to make holy Archangel Michael tremble and question how anyone could even know about this judgment and be okay with knowing about it, But then he presses on. But the main thing is, as he presses on, is when we're given the information that whatever this judgment, this hidden judgment is, that this is the fallen angel's lot. No one else or thing will receive this judgment, that it is specific only to the fallen angels. And then Michael, says that. That was pretty powerful. So I don't know what that judgment is, as no one does, but it seems to be more than I can comprehend.
Well, if it stumps you, then it definitely stumps me.
And then just to kind of continue on, and then I think we will have time. It's only 7 minutes, so after we've talked about it, maybe we could just replay it back and then kind of, see where we are with it. That's up to you all. But Yoko and I had kind of was wondering where we should stop, whether we should stop before they started talking about the oaths, but then we decided to go continuously because it starts explaining what the oaths are, which is the heavens and the earth, and it talks about the sea and the sand and all of that. But the reason that the information about the oath is being given is because it is telling you that the chief of the oaths, Kespiel, which is the one that was right under Lucifer, he tells it there's actually two oaths. And the first oath he called Bekua. And that word was a secret word. And the chief of oaths, who at this point in the limited knowledge I have, I'm designating him as bad. But at this point, he asked Archangel Michael how to pronounce the secret word. And that Bekwa is the secret word. And what that was the secrets of the heavens. And that was the first oath. And then the second oath is called Achaia, A-K-A-E maybe. But that oath is the secrets of the cycles of the earth. So I think it's explaining the magnitude of those oaths, which is beautiful because it's the creation. But it's telling you about that creation because it's telling you what these two oaths are. And it's telling you that this chief of oaths shared those secrets, those heavenly secrets, with Lucifer. Because Lucifer didn't know these secrets. It wasn't part of his scope. The only person who had scope over the oaths was that chief. And he told the secrets he wasn't supposed to tell to Lucifer. And so that's why the explanation of what the oaths were, I thought needed to be contained within the one part that we were doing, because the reason the oaths are being explained is because the breach of the covenant with God to keep those oaths secret. And it was part of how the fallen angels got the knowledge that they then shared when they came down.
Wow.
in light of that, do you think we want to run through the 7 minutes again and see if we can kind of shake it out a little more? Or,
Yes.
I'm okay. Awesome. Are you okay with that,
I'm good.
Yoko?
Yeah.
And it came to pass after this, that while he was living, and before which they melt with fear. And the holy Michael answered Raphael, saying, The power of this Enoch gave me the explanation of all the secrets in a book, and the parables that had been given to him, and he put them together for me in the words of the book of parables. And on that day the holy Michael answered Raphael, saying, The power of the Spirit seizes me and makes me tremble because of the harshness of the judgment of the angels. Who can endure the harshness of the judgment which has been executed, and before which they melt with fear? And the holy Michael answered Raphael again and said to him, Who would not soften his heart over it, and whose mind would not be disturbed by this word? Judgment has gone out against them upon those whom they have led out like this. But it came to pass, when he stood before the Lord of spirits, that the holy Michael spoke as follows to Raphael: I will not take the part under the eye of the Lord, for the Lord of spirits is angry with them, because they act as if they were the Lord. Because of this, the hidden judgment will come upon them forever and ever, for neither any other angel nor any man will receive their lot, but they alone have received their judgment forever and ever. And after this judgment I will terrify them and make them tremble, for they have shown this to those who dwell upon the dry ground. And behold, the names of those angels. The first of them is Simyaza, and the second Artakepha, and the third Armin, and the fourth Kokabiel, and the fifth Turiel, and the sixth Ramiel, and the seventh Daniel, and the eighth Nuquel, and the ninth Baraquiel, and the 10th Azazel, and the 11th Armoros, the 12th Batriel, the 13th Bazazel, the 14th Ananel, the 15th Turiel, the 16th Samsiel, the 17th Yedarel, the 18th Tumiel, the 19th Turiel, the 20th Rumiel, and the 21st Azazel. And these are the chiefs of their angels, and the names of the leaders of hundreds, and their leaders of 50s, and their leaders of 10s. The name of the first is Yakun. This is the one who led astray all the children of the holy angels, and he brought them down unto the ground, and led them astray through the daughters of men. And the name of the second is Asbil. This one suggested an evil plan to the children of the holy angels and led them astray, so that they corrupted their bodies with the daughters of men. And the name of the third is Gadriel. This is the one that showed all the deadly blows to the sons of men, and he led astray Eve. And he showed the weapons of death to the children of men, the shield and the breastplate, and the sword for slaughter, and all weapons of death to the sons of men. And from his hand they have gone out against those who dwell the dry ground from that time and forever and ever. And the name of the fourth is Penemu. This one showed the sons of men the bitter and the sweet, and showed them all the secrets of their wisdom. He taught men the art of writing with ink and paper, and through this many have gone astray, from eternity to eternity and to this day. For men were not created for this, that they should confirm their faith like this, with pen and ink. For men were created no differently from the angels, so that they might remain righteous and pure, and death, which destroys everything, would not have touched them. But through this knowledge of theirs they are being destroyed, and through this power death consumes them. And the name of the fifth is Casdea. This one showed the sons of men all the evil blows of the spirits and of the demons, and the blows that attack the embryo in the womb so that it miscarries, and the blows that attack the soul, the bite of the serpent, and the blows that occur at midday, and the son of the serpent, who is strong. And this is the task of Kesbil, the chief of the oath, who showed the oath to the holy ones when he dwelt on the high in glory, and his name is Becca. And this one told the holy Michael that he should show him the secret name so that they might mention it in the oath, so that those who showed the sons of men everything that is secret trembled before that name and oath. And this is the power of this oath, for it is powerful and strong, and he placed this oath, okay, in the charge of the holy Michael. And these are the secrets of this oath, and they are strong through this oath. And heaven was suspended before the world was created, and forever. And through it the earth was founded upon the water. And from the hidden recesses of the mountains come beautiful waters, from the creation of the world, and forever. And through that oath the sea was created, and as its foundation, for the time of anger, he placed for it the sand, and it does not go beyond it, from the creation of the world, and forever. And through that oath the deeps were made firm, and they stand and do not move from their place, from the creation of the world, and forever. And through that oath the sun and the moon complete their course, and do not transgress their command, from the creation of the world, and forever. And through that oath the stars complete their course, and he calls their names, and they answer him, from the creation of the world, and forever. And likewise the spirits of the water, of the winds, and of all the breezes, and their paths, according to all the groups of the spirits. And there are kept the storehouses of the sound of thunder, and of the light of the lightning. And there are kept the storehouses of the hail, and the hoarfrost, and the storehouses of the mist, and the storehouses of the rain and dew. And all these make their confession, and give thanks in front of the Lord of spirits, and sing praises with all their power. And their food consists of all their thanksgiving, and they give thanks, praise, and exalt in the name of the Lord of spirits, forever and ever. And this oath is strong over them, and through it they are kept safe, and their courses are not disturbed. And they had great joy, and they blessed, praised, and exalted, because the name of that Son of Man had been revealed to them. And he sat on the throne of his glory, and the whole judgment was given to the Son of Man, and he will cause the sinners to pass away and be destroyed from the face of the earth. And those who led astray the world will be bound in chains, and will be shut up in the assembly place of their destruction, and all their works will pass away from the face of the earth. And from then on there will be nothing corruptible. For that Son of Man has appeared, and has sat on the throne of his glory, and everything will pass away and go from in front of him. And the word of that Son of Man will be strong in front of the Lord of spirits. This is the third parable of Enoch.
Thank you again, Yoko.
You're welcome.
So, Hope, maybe you can help me with this. Y'all know I've had a hectic month. I'm not firing as quickly. But there at the end, which is really the only part we haven't unpacked yet, when he's basically saying the Son of Man is going to come back onto the throne. Okay. Help me, because I'm thinking the Son of Man is us, is from Adam, right? Because he's already referring to Jesus as the Lord of spirits. And the fallen and the angels are the sons of God. So the sons of man are from Adam. Is that correct, Hope?
Sorry, I lost my blue mic button. It's my understanding that when he says back on the throne, wouldn't that be the time that we're entering now, when he will be recognized? I think it would be a recognition of his place in the earth, where he'll be reigning once again over the whole earth without the war that's going on in the heavenlies. There'll be no no more no more battle. All that judgment will be done. There's like the judgments that are talked about in Revelation. There's that final judgment where everything, even nature and the stars, everything is judged, and then it's done. And to me, that's what he's talking about in this section. Is when everything is finished, and he's finished with the judgments, and he's walking up onto his throne to reign in peace forevermore. Because up until that time, there's really been no peace from this time that's been described, with all these angels falling and then giving mankind all the weapons of war and the weapons of the makeup to take his gaze off of the glory of himself and God. The glory has been now placed as they're looking inward, they're looking at themselves and trying to make themselves more beautiful. So all these things have to be judged. And when that judgment is finished, is when God takes his final throne, reign on his throne. That was how I kind of understood that part.
Yeah, I did too, as far as the timing of when that's going to occur and the steps. But I'm confused about the Son of Man, and I guess where I'm naturally going in my mind, and I don't know that it's correct, is like when this, because basically we're talking about the eternal kingdom, the judgment's done, evil's gone, we can no longer be corrupted, and this is heaven on earth. And yes, God will be on the throne, and Jesus will be on the throne. But is this in any way referring to Adam finally being redeemed through Jesus's redemptive plan? Because it was always meant for Adam to have the dominion over the earth, and so he was meant to have a place there too as the first man, but he blew it. And so is this in any way inferring that when this time comes that Adam and or Adam's offspring, which is mankind, would finally be redeemed in God's eyes to where they could take the rightful place that he intended them to have? You see my confusion there?
Mm-hmm. And I think that it very well could be that. And I think it makes me think about how many times Jesus referred to himself as the Son of Man when he was fully God and fully man, because of his virgin birth, being the only begotten Son of God. So he was able to reconcile mankind to God. He was that mediator so that mankind could eventually take his rightful place as ruler with God. That's why we can be joined to God because of what Christ did. So I think you're right in that Son of Man, Jesus referred to himself, and I've heard it taught where Jesus was that second Adam, Adam being the first man created, and then Jesus coming as the second Adam to bring mankind to God. So that this will be kind of the culmination of Jesus' mission on earth to bring mankind to God, and kind of that presenting, kind of handing God this present, this gift. Here's my finished work, Father. All of mankind now can take their rightful place, and his work is it was finished at the cross, but I think the culmination of it all will be that what he's talking about, what he's seeing in the future here.
That was powerful. That brought tears to my eyes. What a gift to the father. I mean, you think of a father that maybe lost 12 children out in the wilderness, and then his only child he has left went and found those 12 and brought them all back to him safely. How joyous that would be. And now you multiply that by all of the souls that he created and loves, and the magnitude of that makes you realize the magnitude of that gift, and it brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah, me too. As I was reading this today in preparation for tonight, I just was crying because of this passage. It was so powerful. The judgment, the way nature obeys, the paths that God has set everything on, and then this final presentation of God receiving all of mankind through Christ. It's just so powerful.
Especially when you think about his words on the cross when he says, does he say it is finished or it is done? But he wasn't talking about that day. He was talking about the vision that you just brought to me when you explained that day in the future. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's beautiful that God saved this book for us to be able to see this powerful vision that was given through Enoch. I mean, this is just such a gift to us to have this further confirmation of what we know in our hearts and have read in the scriptures, to have this book now come to life so much in this time. It's just powerful. You're right.
Yeah, I was wondering. So all these the oath is based on the oath, like the continuation of the whole thing run. So do we? I mean, of course we don't remember. Do you think we all took oath before our souls had taken oath? I don't know. That's my question. That kind of came up in my mind.
I don't know, but I kind of like in this particular part, it's well, one is the secret of the heavens, and the other is these two oaths, and the other is the cycles of the earth. And so I kind of think of them, we've talked in the past, and I've used the word covenant, like when he created a star, he has a covenant with that star. And I think that's kind of what I meant. I was using the word covenant, but I think that this kind of explains it. It's basically when he would create something, he would create it in a way that it fulfilled the purpose he created it for. And for that creation to stay in integrity with that instruction it had been given was the oath. Because, some parts in Enoch that we've already listened to, he has shown actual stars. I think in the session I called them twinkle, twinkle stars, real stars, and they are being held or imprisoned because they transgressed their oath. And so that's kind of the way I take the oaths is, God created the water, and like when he talks about the sand, he created that sand and he told that sand, your job is to keep the waters within its proper place. And that was the sand's oath. That's for what it was created. And it's so thankful because God is holy, holy, holy. There is no other feeling for that creation to have than to want to honor the Creator. But every now and then, I guess something would transgress, and then he would address that.
It's amazing how much this passage in Enoch parallels the book of Job, chapters 38 through, I think, 40, where God is answering Job. Has anybody thought about that, that similarity?
Yes, and what about the fact that the person who's telling us this, at certain points it's Enoch, but at certain points it's Noah. Y'all, this is Noah talking to us through this book. This is Noah.
Mm-hmm.
Does that blow your mind? And now he's telling you, my great grandfather gave me these 3 books. These are the 3 parables. And that's what just happened, is he's introducing you, and now we're fixing to go into the 3 parables. But this narrator, when it has not been Enoch, and at some points it's been Methuselah, but at this point, this is Noah. And we're being talked to by Noah.
Yeah, talking about his great grandfather. Yeah, Enoch. It is amazing to me. But I know we're to our time. But would you let me read just a little bit of this passage from from Job, because I understand that Job is like the very oldest of the books of the Bible, written even before Genesis. Did you hear that?
Please do.
All right, it's in chapter 38. It says, "Then the Lord answered Job from the whirlwind, 'Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorant words? Brace yourself like a man, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you know so much. Who determined its dimensions and stretched out the surveying line? Who supports its foundations, and who laid its cornerstone, as the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy? Who kept the sea inside its boundaries and burst from the as it burst from the womb, as it as and as I clothed it with clouds, and as I wrapped it in thick darkness? For I locked it behind barred gates, limiting its shores. I said, 'This far and no farther will you come. Here your proud waves must stop.' Have you commanded the morning to appear and caused the dawn to rise in the east? Have you made daylight spread to the ends of the earth and bring an end to the night's wickedness?" And then I'm going to skip over, but this verse 28 says, or 27, "Who sends rain to satisfy the parched ground and make the tender grass to spring up? Does the rain have a father? Who gives birth to the dew? Who is the mother of the ice? Who gives birth to the frost from the heavens? For the waters turn to ice as hard as rock, and the surface of the water freezes. Can you direct the movement of the stars, binding the clusters of Pleiades or loosening the cords of Orion? Can you direct the sequence of the seasons and guide the bear with her cubs across the heavens? Do you know the laws of the universe? Can you can you use them to regulate the earth?" And it goes on and on and on. And I just get so excited when I read this book, because it talks about the wild goats giving. Have you watched the wild goats give birth? And but there's just 3 chapters that are very long, so I can't read them all. But if you read these verses, you understand the parallels between the book of Job and God answering Job and asking him all these questions, and this book of Enoch that we're studying. They sound very similar because the hoarfrost and the ice and the way that the sun and the moon go across the heavens is addressed also in this book of Job. So I just thought it was absolutely amazing.
It is.
Yeah. Can I add something? Not add to, I mean something different. So, the angel, let's see where it is. The Yegun, he led astray all the children, all the children of the holy angels, all the children of. So the holy angels, they do reproduce and they have children, according to this passage. All the so this Yegun or Qun angel, he led astray all the children. All this is all, not just the children. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm still processing that one as well, but I've got a big star by it to kind of look into it further. I know that the angels, from what I know right now, they are asexual in in that in in that they don't reproduce. Obviously, when you're listening to the descriptions of the archangels, they're obviously masculine. So I don't really know any more about that, but I know that he tells them, when we've already studied this part, that he did not prepare wives for the angels. And so I always just concluded that they did not reproduce. So that tonight has, created something for me to further study.
He was upset about. I mean, God was upset about uh, like they made their bodies impure by mating with the daughters, the daughters of the humans. So it was more. It was kind of. I think it's the crossbreeding. Like they created giants and all that. The cross. That's what he was upset about. It's not. I mean, he was not that we're dirty or anything, or we're beneath them. But it's interesting.
Yeah, it's because of the different types of souls. Like they were created to live in heaven, and heaven is their foundation. We were created to live on earth and die on earth, and that is our foundation. And then our second is after that process. But the first person, the Yegun, it is confusing as far as because it does talk about the children of the angels, all of the children of the angels. But where I honed in, because I haven't reconciled that part, is that his crime is that he brought them down. Is everybody okay?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Putting my pants away.
I thought, oh no, it's happening. But anyway, he brought them down. So he's the one that showed them how to go from the heavenly realm to the earthly realm. it was the second one, Astiel, that his crime was showing them how to corrupt their bodies. So two different angels with two different crimes. The first one showed them how to get here. The second one showed them how to have sex with the women, which corrupted their angelic bodies.
You know what's interesting, LG? It's we all know they're here. They came, they did. Where are they now in our world today? I think of that all the time.
Well, I don't think they're the ones that we have to worry about because they were imprisoned and they've been burning a slow burn for all of these thousands of years. But it's what we've been dealing with are the demonic spirits that were left over after the flood, which might as well be fallen angels because that's why they didn't die, because their foundation is angelic. So that foundational part of them did not die. So we're not dealing with the real fallen angels like OG Papa, because they're all chained up and imprisoned and on fire. But we're dealing with the offspring of those and their demonic spirits, and they're the ones that have been in control and for these thousands of years.
So when are we telling the public? I think of that too.
I don't know, but I think next week is going to get interesting. And I love the parable of the illuminaries. I think some people may find it a little monotonous because he takes you through all of the gates and the sun and, basically. But when we talk about the mysteries of the heavenlies and the way things work, that now we're going to learn how they work because Enoch's fixing to tell us the same secrets that, we were not necessarily supposed to know. But one of the archangels actually helped Enoch scribe and how the illuminaries work. So it's so fascinating because some of the instructions that we'll be hearing about how things work was actually written down by the archangel for Enoch because God instructed him to, and then he gave it to Enoch. And what that angel wrote down and gave to Enoch is this parable that Noah has. So it's a wow. So I'm really excited about next week.
Does anybody have anything more to say?
Yes, I just wanted to notify you, Yoko, and LG that today Hope and I were on the GG channel, and both of us just got part of what Kat had projected of the Mike Penny show, and it's about a 3-hour long. I haven't even done the first part, but I got in on the part where some of those secrets that were, you know, are revealed. And that Gandalf guy is on there. He has a very foul mouth, but there was he has pulled up from, I think he called it the dark web. I don't, wherever he gets his stuff, but it was very amazing. And maybe you can mention that too, Hope. I hope I'm hoping Kat sent that to you. She sent it to me, and I'm going to review it. But I think it's worth looking at. You just close your ears during the cussing part, and even at the end, Mike Penny, after Gandalf left, Mike Penny apologized for the language, but the information, sometimes we have to put up with stuff to get some information. But there are graphs and pictures and drawings that are amazing.
Aria, could you send that to me?
I'm going to ask Hope to send it to you because I just looked, Lynn, and you're not in my contacts. I can't figure out how. Hope, can you send that to Lynn?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for that, Aria. And I guess as far as related to Enoch, that should be a wrap, Yoko. Did anyone want to close us out in prayer?
I will. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for all of us being able to be together tonight and to listen to all the wonderful things that are being brought to our attention and into our thoughts and in our hearts. And we ask you, Lord, that you bless us with knowledge, that we're able to decipher all the things that you want us to know. So please teach us what you want us to know. Tell us what you want us to say and show us what you want us to do. Amen.
Amen. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
And
you.
next week
Thank
will
you,
be
LT.
Yes, Lynn?
I said thank you, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back. And next week will be the 3rd of November, and Thursday will come at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And thank you for everybody for being here and also listening to the recording. It's wonderful. I think I love this session. Okay. Good night. I'm going to stop the recording.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you all.
Good night. Thank you.